Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. It's the DJI Osmo Action 4. This is an action camera for sports, kind of competing with GoPro, also Insta360. I think I've had the first and the second one. I skipped the number 3, but this is the number 4. It should just be coming out now. This was actually sent to me by DJI as a demo. But this is kind of going to be a series for this thing, in depth. This is probably going to switch over to being my main camera that I use for like my hat cam and my bike rides and stuff as well, because I know that their quality is pretty good. Anyway, before we get ahead of ourselves, we're going to be doing a whole series on this. This is going to be the unboxing, kind of inspecting it, checking out the menus. They also sent me a ND filter set as well. So I'm going to show you how to put these on, and we're going to just see how all this stuff is. Anyway, hang in there and let's get started on the Osmo Action 4. Okay, so as you can see, I got the Adventure combo. They have different combos. I'll have the link down in the description of where you can see all of the different combos. This combo includes an extension rod, 3 batteries, and a battery case. And as far as the box goes, just basically they show you a few pictures. And we have some details on the back of the box. For example, this camera has a 1 1/3 sensor, 10-bit and D-Log, deep freeze resistant and long-lasting battery, and hopefully higher too, because I had problems. I don't know if you guys have seen my drone videos I review from these guys, but the last video I did in the flight test on their Air 3 drone, the Action 2 cam overheated a couple minutes after I was shooting in the sunlight. So I'm hoping this is a little more heat resistant as well, and we don't get the overheating that some of the previous ones had. This thing does 4K 120 frames per second on a 155-degree field of view. It's got a quick release and native vertical video, 360 horizon steady. So these things are getting really good at their kind of digital stabilization. Not as perfect as a gimbal, but their technology is getting pretty good with these things to keep that horizon straight. This is waterproof up to 18 meters just right out of the box. If you did want to go deeper, like diving or scuba diving with this, you can get one of those deep sea dive cases. This also has a dual touchscreen, so you have a screen on the front and a screen on the back. Anyway, guys, let's just break into this thing. Sorry it's taking so long to get to this part, but I do like to go thorough in my reviews. If you know anything about my reviews, I'm pretty thorough, and I know sometimes they're kind of long, but people that are spending this kind of money, I mean, this is in the $500 range for these kinds of cameras. So you kind of want to know what you're getting, and you want more of the details usually. Okay, so we're opening right here. This is my first time opening this case up, so I'm going to be kind of experiencing it with you on camera. So we got 1 box, 2 boxes, and really just the kind of extension selfie rod. Well protected from scratching. All I'm doing is just pulling this out. Little warning kind of sticker on here that says rinse with clean water after underwater usage. Do not use extension rod during thunderstorms. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. Take that sticker off, don't need that anymore. And this thing just kind of like pulls out. The cool thing about this is you don't really have to twist it, and it's super light. This is a 4-foot rod, super light. We have this really nice grippy material right here on the handle that's going to kind of be easy to hold on to. If you did want to put a lanyard on it or mount it up on a tripod or some kind of a mount, you can screw it in there. And then on the other end, I'm just going to close it up for you. I kind of like this where it's quite a bit of resistance, but you don't have to do any twisting or anything like that to lock it off. On the top, just your typical mount where you have the locking off screw. Okay, so the 2 boxes, one is accessories and one is the actual Action Camera 4. Usually what I like to do is unbox the accessories first just to save the best for last. So here we go. Let's dump all this stuff out. Here is the cool battery case, which also looks like the multi-charger. That's awesome. Wow. Open that up and check that out. We just have 3 high capacity batteries locked in there. And we have kind of an amber orange glow, which I'm assuming is half charge. Lithium ion polymer, 3.85 volt up to 4.4 volt. And that is 1,770 mAh each battery. 3 of these in the case that I can charge them in. We have a little USB Type-C area right here on the charger case, and that's really all there is on the case. So we can close that up, take that with us, and it looks like you can just hit that real quick and check the status. So it should be probably red, orange, and green. Green means they're fully charged. Of course, red means they're discharged. Here we go. This looks like a magnetic mount, quick release mount. We have these little tabs right here that you just push. And I like that little rubber grip inside here. This is actual rubber that's going to grip the camera. This little bag, what do we have here? Okay, a little lens hood. Camera is not waterproof when used with this lens hood. So I'd imagine I'm probably not going to be really using this lens hood much. I guess if you're having like sun refraction problems, you can stick this thing on. A couple of instruction manuals, disclaimer, cool white DJI sticker. If you're into DJI, you can put those stickers on some of your stuff. Last thing in this accessory box here is going to be the USB Type-C cable. So this looks like it's about I want to say 2 feet. So again, opening this up for the first time with you guys, and let's see what's in here. So that's it. 2 things. Yeah, so this looks like all the mounting and that kind of that sports protectant case. Let's see, there we go. Just kind of a sticky case. That pops out. We have our main frame case here. You can see we got a power activation button on the top. Cool. So we have our mounting over here for our kind of portrait view, which is where this thing's just going to snap in. And that's just completely magnetic. You see how that magnetic just goes in? And then you can push it a little more or push these tabs and it really locks this thing in. Pushing on that and nothing's happening. Little power button and quick shot button here. Then the case just opens up like that. Doesn't really come all the way apart. It just kind of hinges like that so you don't lose pieces. And that's what we're going to slide the camera into. We got 3 other mini bags in here. So let's check out what is in here and then we'll get to the camera. Again, everything is getting very well wrapped. We have another mount. Interesting. One is shorter here and this one is longer. So we're getting about 1/4 inch, a little bit longer. So you have those 2 options there. I guess that would be the mini mount, they're calling it, which is just shorter. Another bag here, and this would be kind of that curved sticky mount with that 3M type of tape. See how it's curved there for like helmets and curved surfaces. Looks like just the securing finger nuts here that's gonna allow you to screw in and mount it. Both look exactly the same. Okay, let's get to the good stuff, guys. Here is the camera. Can't say enough about how well packed this thing is. They're making sure the customer is not going to get any scratches on this stuff. And look at that bugger. So there it is, the Osmo Action 4. Looks a little different. Tighten the lens protective cover before taking in water. Let's take this off. And there you go. There is our sensor, lens, field of view. FOV on the left is 155, f2.8 here, and then right there, 1 1/3 sensor. Touchscreen up front, and if we flip this thing around, remember we have the larger touchscreen on the back. Flipping over to the top, all we have is this kind of action button, start and stop recording. That looks like a mic or speaker up here. Over on the left side, we have that power that'll just like cycle through the modes really quickly if you want to. Push this in, pull this open. Since we got that multi-charger here, probably not going to be doing any charging on the device, but you can, if you have the battery in here, plug in right there, and you can do charging or file transfer with the cable they provide you. I remember in the Osmo Action 1 I had, which was kind of the same format, and then they changed it in the Osmo 2. I remember how it didn't really close perfectly, and then you had to really push on it and hear it click. But it looks like they took care of that. This one feels like it has no problem just immediately closing once you push it down and slide it. It's just, there's no question that that thing's going to be shut. So that's a good improvement there. This is the little magnetic attachment. Trying to pull it in right now, it is magnetic, but you definitely are going to need to push that sucker in and make sure that is secure before you start using this thing. But definitely more secure than some of the other cameras I've had. I like that. And that is a very strong magnet. And the only other side is the side that we're going to access for the batteries. So let's see if there's one in here. Should be one in. Nope. Flip the top up, pull your battery out, and And let's see how this battery goes in here. Almost forgot, there's our micro SD card slot. So you're gonna slide one of those TF cards or micro SD cards. Match up the connectors. If you look inside there, there is the male portion right down in there. Kind of hard to see in the light, but you can see those pins coming up. And then this is the female portion right here. So keep that top right there, pushing in. Feeling a little click when I push in. Keep that door slid down, push in, and then the way these work is they slide up. A nice quick click. So we're not gonna have any more problems like we did on the previous versions of this thing closing. You can see right when I push it up, we get that click. So no question that that door is shut and waterproof and sealed. So even though I haven't charged any of these batteries yet, I'm just gonna turn this thing on, guys, and let's see what the menu looks like. Just pressing the power button there. There it goes. Okay, cool. So a little boot up menu. Do the QR code and register the device here. It looks like you have to do it within 5 times. So I'm going to skip it here for this one. Okay, so this is just giving you a little tutorial around the screen. The zoom indicator, if you tap and hold it, you can go up and down and get more zoom. I think it was the Action 2 cam before they did that update. You would just tap the screen and you could do this. I was getting all messed up on my zooming when I was trying to review a drone. So at least you have to tap and hold now to bring that up. Let's go into the video menu here. So you got to kind of start swiping it really quick. You can hear there is a sound on there. So you could probably turn that off, save a little bit of battery life if you wanted to. And you see how it goes right into photo or whatever you're in there. So right now it's in 4:3. I can turn it to 16:9, and then we have our countdown timer all the way up to 10 seconds or off. Let's see what the menus are like. They usually have very similar menus on all their cameras where you slide down. So these are going to be all of our options here. We have this little human here, create and manage custom modes. Okay, quick switch menu. Options here for the quick switch button, which remember is that button right here on the side, the QS, also the power button. So basically as you hit this button, it'll go through all these modes. So you can put those on if you want to. Slide back down from the top. Let's do the brightness. So you can change that brightness on the screen itself, save some battery power if you don't need it super bright. Should auto turn off, and there should be some settings here. Snapshot video, so that's what this button is up here. When you press it, if it's in its default setting, it's just gonna start and stop the video. You can also do voice control now with these types of cameras where you just tell it a command and it will do some stuff. So you can adjust your language. Here are the types of voice commands you can do. Start recording, stop recording, take photo, shut down. I usually have that off because I'm usually talking during my reviews and using cameras like this. And I don't want it to accidentally think I'm saying something and then it messes the camera up and stops or something. Also, I kind of miss these. You have the ability to put a grid on, anti-flicker is set to auto. You can change that if you want. Time code you can put on or off. Naming management. Screen off when recording. I like to have that screen off in about 30 seconds or less. You have the choice of 3 seconds all the way up to never. 10 minutes, 5, 1. 30 seconds is usually enough where you can kind of check it after you start recording. And that'll turn the screens off, which is great because it'll save you a lot of power. We have orientation lock on or off. That's just as you turn, you see how it's changing the menu into portrait or landscape. Same is going to go for your video or pictures as you turn the device. Like if you're riding a bike and you fall over or something or turn your head too much, if you don't want it to go into portrait, make sure you lock it in whatever you want. If you are in a situation where you think you're going to be touching the screen and you don't want to mess things up, just hit that like after you start recording or something and your screen will be locked. As you can see, you can't do anything until you swipe up. So that just quickly enables voice control or disables it. That's just a shortcut. Close that, just swipe up. Let's swipe from the bottom. Basically, these quick swipes are just kind of getting into shortcuts to menus, right? So I wanted 16:9. I didn't want any countdown on the timer. You can go 240 in 1080p. If you do click on what resolution it is, you see how it brings up this menu. 2.7K in 120 or 4K in 120. So it looks like in the higher definitions, 120 is the max, but in 1080, we can do 240. So that's promising. So it looks like right or left-hand side, we're getting the same type of camera mode selection. There's a little menu right here. I'm going to click on that. And that brings us up to our field of view. Field of view, we can do wide, standard, de-warp. So those are the two options I have in this mode. Click on Pro, you can adjust all these things: exposure, auto white balance, field of view, your recording format, JPEG, JPEG plus RAW are the two options we have. So quite a few options here. Let's flip this thing over and check it out. There is the front screen. So if you're doing like a selfie, or even if you're filming somebody else, at least they can see what they look like or what you look like, and you can adjust to make sure you're in like the center of the screen. Swipe to unlock the screen, it looks like from the bottom. That's cool. Awesome, you have all the same menus in this screen as you did on the back. You can adjust camera, video, slow motion, you know, all the same stuff. Well, you can also adjust the zoom from here as well if you click and hold that. That's pretty cool. So we actually get another tutorial on the front camera. We're getting a little warning here. When it's 25C, you have only approximately 9 minutes of recording on 120. So it looks like it's pushing the camera to the limits when you're getting the 120 4K. So be careful with that. The lower frame rate is definitely going to make your battery last long and have it overheat less. I'm going to turn rock steady on. Remember, we also have horizon balancing. So that's like the little artificial digitized gimbal. There's also a rock steady plus, regular rock steady, or just off. But nowadays you want to have some kind of stabilization, unless you're going to do like post-processing stabilization when you're editing. I really like the horizon balancing. Let me show you what it can do here. Let's just go back out of this, close that by just sliding it down. Let's get back to the back, which is the bigger screen. There's the horizon. You see how it's keeping it perfectly straight? So it should go up to 45 degrees. Let's go ahead and turn it here. That's about 45 right there. Yeah, see how it just starts to kind of turn that off, and then it kicks back in at about 45 degrees. It's almost just like a gimbal in there. See what happens if I click this side QS button here, and see how that's quickly, I'm just pressing it, and it's just quickly going between photo and video. And remember, in the menu you can set that to do whatever you want for multiple presses. So of course I put it to video. I don't want to touch the screen, say I have gloves on. Just keep hitting that for the mode you want. I want it to kind of get back into the mode, so I'm just going to click on the resolution here on the bottom. Remember, that kind of brings up the frame rate and resolution. Up on the top right, I'm going to hit HB, which was horizon balancing. And we have, remember, all those. Access your loop duration right there on the top left of this menu. I would just leave that off unless you wanted to really keep recording, but it would start erasing the beginning of your recording again. It's kind of like a gamble, because if you don't put it on and you're still doing your action or whatever you're doing, it's just the camera's going to stop and you won't be able to record anymore. If you do put it on, at least you can keep recording. But remember, you might be recording over some good stuff you had in the beginning. But I usually just leave that off, put a large video card in there. What I am noticing is it doesn't look like this thing has any onboard storage. So I'm going to press record. You need to have an SD card. In the Action 2 I was talking about, I think it had something like 32 gigs of onboard storage. So kind of cool when at least you have some onboard storage as a backup, but it doesn't look like you're going to get that with the Action 4. So guys, we kind of looked at all of the menus, kind of cool. Everything is kind of as it should be. Camera's looking really good. And remember, there are some significant upgrades. I'll go ahead and have the comparison sheet up on the screen right now so you guys can kind of check that out. Pause the video if you want. And you can see the advancements between like GoPro and stuff that are compared to as well in this chart. So let's turn this thing off. Remember, quick press is getting you into your quick set menu between photo, video, or whatever you have it set at, and then press and hold is going to turn the camera off. See how it kind of mounts in its case here? We're going to want to push it in from the front. It can't go any further back because the larger lip is in the back. And then just go ahead and push this to clamp it down. And there you go. So at least you have some side bump protection. You want to really make sure you hear that snap, tug on it a little bit. You would really hate for this thing to be like half on, right? If you just tried it real quick and then you mount this thing up and look what it's doing. It's probably going to break off or fall off. If you want portrait, check this out. Put this thing on the side, and remember, really got to push this in. There we go. So if you were shooting portrait, there you go. You have a portrait mount. If you're just doing like Instagram posts or whatever, like shorts, there you go. You can just do it natively right there from the camera. Finger screws, just line it up. I know this is kind of redundant, guys, but if you've never done this before, that's how you do it. So the tighter you make this, the less it's going to move around. So you want to adjust it on your helmet or whatever you're putting it on. Get it to where you want it. And then go ahead and crank this thing down pretty tight so it's not going to slide up and down. So you can have all your mounts set up and then just easily exchange it right here off of this thing. Then of course, taking this thing out of this case, super simple. It just kind of opens this thing up, which I like. And then you just slide it out from the front. Anyway, let's get into the ND filters, see what we got here and how they go on. I remember the Osmo 1, the Action Cam 1 they released. Man, that sucker was so hard to get those filters on. Let's see how it's changed. Opening this thing up, and very nice case. Of course, this is kind of an aftermarket purchase here. So very nice rubber here, and we can see the numbers here on the top right of each one. So this is a 32 on the top, 16 and an 8. So usually what you want to do is the sunnier it is, you use the higher number. If it's super sunny or you're just trying to get a certain effect, of course, you want to use the higher number. Let's try to put on the 8 here. So just very carefully taking it out. To put the ND filters on and other lenses on before, you had to take off this whole thing. And yeah, so that's much easier now between the 1. I haven't done the 3, remember, but the 1 and the 4. You see how easy that is to take off. So if you wanted to put a hooded lens on it or something, really careful not to touch any of this stuff. You can see how there's that red seal in there, O-ring there, so it's going to keep it nice and waterproof. But at least you can take this thing off a lot easier because it was almost like it was glued on the first one, the Action Cam 1. So we'll just put this back on. Good crank, not too hard, so you have the best seal, because remember this thing is waterproof out of the box up to 18 meters, right? And here we go. So taking the ND filter, making sure we're not touching the lens, and this thing just slips right on. Wow. There we go. So it's just kind of has a rubber internal ring inside of the ND filter. Doesn't seem like it's going to come off unless you like knock it on something or hit something, especially going forward. Let's see if we push it here. Yeah, that ain't coming off. So unless it catches the edge on the top or the side here, so you have it on your helmet and you get stuck in a tree like motorcycle riding or something, and you pull your head back, watch what happens here. See how that just popped right off? So be really careful, maybe check on it if you do pull your head back and you're in some sticks or brush. The last thing I want to do is connect this to my phone and show you guys the Wi-Fi app, and then we're going to wrap it up. This is the OnePlus 10T phone here. I just have this little QR code app, so I'm just gonna, there you go. It's pretty quick. It just scans it right up there. There we go. So I just scanned it, and let's see what happens here. Which product? So there's all their drones. If you guys want to see drone reviews and drone videos, I do a lot of drone reviews, so go check that out. I'll have the card pop up here at the top. Go ahead and check in the description for what I'm reviewing here and a lot of my other videos and gear as well. So we're going to the Osmo series, and this isn't released yet. So this is pre-release review right here. So as you can see, the Action 4 is not coming up. So all you need to do is select your camera, activate it. The application I've used with the other cameras is called the DJI Mimo, M-I-M-O. I already have it previously downloaded. So let's see if that is actually able to connect with this one. Again, this is a pre-release, so maybe it won't even work because they don't even have the software out for it yet, okay? So I'm just gonna bypass that, and let's just see if we can connect. So up on the top, we're gonna click device on the top left corner, and it's searching for a device. So again, I'm not sure this is gonna work because it is not even released yet. It's actually gonna be released tomorrow. Since I can't connect to this right now, I'll go ahead and get my Action Cam 2 and kind of just show you what it should be similar to when you connect. All right, so here's the Action Cam 2. Let's just power this thing on. It's a pretty good camera, but just the way they did it with the attachment system, you can see how it kind of like wiggles in there. In high bumpy situations like riding a bike in dirt and rocks, this thing would actually kind of start to disconnect. This is the extended battery, and you can see how it's not waterproof and stuff. So really, I'm glad they went back to the original type of design where it's just all encompassed, all waterproof, and you can just swap the batteries out. Should be very similar. There may even be a release to a newer app here. You see how quick that noticed it? So here is the Action 2. All you need to do is connect, and you will be connecting to it wirelessly. Sometimes you got to wait a little bit. And what's so cool about this is a lot of people will mount this on, say they're doing reviews with this on their chest cam or hat cam or on their bike or something. And this is like another monitor, so you can kind of see what's going on. There's a little bit of a lag, like maybe a half a second lag or even less, a couple hundred milliseconds, but at least you can kind of see what you're shooting, and you can change a bunch of options here. If it detects a firmware update, as you can see, you can just do that right from here. It auto detects it. Pretty much all the same settings that you have on the camera, you can adjust from your phone. So kind of a really cool, a really good little extension of the camera to have it on your phone, especially if you need to monitor what your camera's seeing, if it's mounted like up on your head or like on your chest, like I was saying, and you're doing some of those action cam shots, which is usually why people are going to buy this type of camera, because it's waterproof, it's durable, does great video. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for the first video in the series of the Osmo Action 4 camera. We're going to do lots more testing on this thing. We're going to do bike riding, see how the stabilization is. We're going to find that out in some of my reviews too, if this thing overheats in the sun here. You know, it's been pretty hot recently. We're also going to see how that performs in the heat. So stay tuned, guys, for the rest of this series. Remember, it's down in the description or right up here. You can click on that to check out the other videos of this cam and all the other reviews I do on drones, technology, and RC stuff, etc. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.